What's plaguing me is Dubas is doing to Pittsburgh what he did to Toronto with older players, and I never saw it coming from the start. And I'm worried, you guys. I'm worried.
Take it away from him.
Sports show. Barn is alive again. Got me in my hormones. All gas, no brakes. Score 4-0. If you think you own this place, you get foreclosed. I've been in my.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to The Sports Show. That's right. The Sports Show, episode 334. You add those numbers up, you get 10. You'd think 10 out of 10 show, it makes sense, but not quite. 9 out of 10 show at the max. Why? Because my partner's not here. The one and the only Mitch. That's right. It's only the Dimitri today. The reason that it's only me is because Mitch and his wife are on baby watch. Not Baywatch. Baby watch. That's right. They're expecting their second child. God willing, God bless, all the best to their family. But, you know, we're coming down to the wire. It's almost like playoffs, right? It's like right before playoffs. The last 3-4 days count. These last games, they count. It's where you got to be. You got to be game time ready, answering the call. And with the snow and the weather conditions and everything going on here in Calgary, you got to be on standby. So I'm going to be doing the show solo this week, probably next week as well, most likely. I might call upon one of your roster, so be prepared. Let's get to some goods here. Number one, at Sports Show Podcast. It's the blue and white logo. Look for it. Love it. Embrace it. When you get there, I want you to subscribe to the channel. YouTube, Instagram, Podbean, Spotify, everywhere. It's all the things. CJSW 90.9 on the FM dial. We're here too. That's what we do. Now, you're going to wonder, the setup's different. What's going on, Dimitri? You don't got your legs up? I swear, the guy leaves for one day and the whole thing's falling apart. It's falling apart, Jerry. It's falling apart. So the one microphone's not working. It's out. I had to put it on the screen. I got to reach over to grab this microphone over here. This is actually Mitch's microphone. Okay, so I can feel that he's here. I can feel him. I can feel his presence. Dear Lord, he's right beside me. So I got to pull his mic over here. Then I don't have a podcast stand. So now I'm using, I mean, if you see the setup, you'll be amazed. You'll be amazed what I did. I'm so proud. It's the greatest setup anyone's ever seen. They said you couldn't have the setup. I said I got to do the setup. It's a good setup. They never seen this kind of setup, but I set up. That's for you, Mitch. So yeah, I'm ill prepared. And you don't realize, it's kind of like when I leave and Mitch has got to do the tech. It's crazy. It's out of control. It's not a fun thing. Well, same thing on my end. My mic's not working. Mitch, he's got a backpack of goods. The thing is like Santa's sleigh. He just reaches into the backpack and things come out. I got to do my own agenda. Does this look like notes from someone who's prepared? Does this look like the Sports Show notes? It's not. Nonetheless, Swiss Greek, I might need you next week. Be on standby. I'm just saying. Well, I'm going to have a sip of coffee. I'm going to take my time. Ladies and gentlemen, I knew Mitch wasn't going to be here today. So I decided to peruse the nets myself. All right, so perusing the nets, found a couple things. Number one, apparently doing the Trump dance, not good. You could do the Trump impression. You just can't do the Trump dance. A lot of people are coming out and saying, it's not good. We don't really like the guy who's doing it. But at the same time, in the spirit of sports, I mean, whether you hate the away team, can't you respect the game a little bit? I mean, the moves themselves? I don't know. I'm just saying. Like, is that dance move now going to be outlawed and racist? I'm not so sure. You got, what's his face? The old goalie for the U.S. national soccer team. There's controversy right there where he's saying that dance is from a racist dance. Can dances be racist? Not sure. Anyways, that's for you to decipher. Like I said, all I did was peruse the nets. I bring it to you. I digress. Big news in sports. Rafael Nadal officially retired. But I got a problem with one thing. Not his career. Amazing career. Multiple Grand Slams. ATP wins. At some point in time, arguably the best ever. It was there between him and before Djokovic really turned on the jets. Between him and Federer, there was a time where, who was going to emerge He was a phenom when he came in. A gentleman who really upped the ante and changed the game. That whole contingent, the three of them. Master on the clay court. Unprecedented victories there. And so, all good things do come to an end, and he did retire and a great career, and appreciate allowing us to have the viewing pleasure of one Rafael Nadal. But here's what I don't like about headlines. The man who retired Nadal. No, he didn't retire him. He just happened to beat him. When you're that big, you retire yourself. So don't give me this guy retired Nadal. No, and no. He retired himself. Okay? This isn't the fight game. This isn't everyone else where, this wouldn't be like if Djokovic just beat him into submission and he said, I can't take it anymore. I can't beat this guy. I'm out. That's retiring someone. But until then, no, I don't want to hear it. Do not want to hear it. Okay? That's it. That's all I got. From there, we move on to the NHL. Do you see what I'm doing? Did you catch it? I'm trying to Mitch when Mitch is not here. All of you listening long enough, you heard it. Okay, look, top news around the NFL. First and foremost, I want to talk about a guy named Alexander Ovechkin. Okay, Ovi, number 8, the great 8, Alexander the Great, everything. A man who is chasing what is once thought, and still to some degree, not so much anymore, a record that was never going to be broken. And he's on the cusp, and he's on the verge, so much so that he gets to a point where he's the leading scorer on the, not team, league. The leading scorer in the league. Just the other day, 15 goals, top of the stack. The guy is on a mission. He can see it. He can taste it. The whole world is watching. They're behind him. Then what happens? He gets injured. He's going to be out for a few weeks, a little bit more. It looks like a month. They said 4 to 6 weeks on the last report that I saw, but let's take it for face value. At least a month the guy's out. He's dejected. He's hurt. I think everyone is, and that's my point. Now, everyone's topic. Is he going to make it? Can he still do it if he comes back? The answer is, ladies and gentlemen, is probably not. No. It's hard enough, right? To miss that much time and then to get going, and then that puts you, the only saving grace is that'll, depending on how long the actual injury is, he might get some play time even before the All-Star break, and that might be a good thing for him. But it's going to be really difficult in order to actually get that record, and in order to actually achieve it for this year. A guy like Ovechkin at that age has to have every game at his disposal. It's tough enough to get over 40 goals. Get over 40 goals in a season. And follow me on this, a little bit of a silver lining. I'm kind of okay, and I'll tell you why I'm okay with it. The Washington Capitals are on a phenomenal run right now. To some degree, a lot of people would suggest very unexpected. But they're doing great. They're atop of the Metro Division, even in the league in the wild card race, in the Eastern Conference, doing a fantastic job. If he breaks the record this year, it would have been just breaking it. Like, we're talking just breaking it. And the only icing on the cake, I would have been okay with that if he just broke it and the Washington Capitals go on to win the Stanley Cup, and it's like, boom, boom. From that standpoint, coulda, woulda, shoulda. But the silver lining I'm talking about is this. I'm glad he won't break it this year, because I do want him to break it next year. Because if he breaks it next year, he will have a whole season at his disposal. And I not only want to see him break it, I want to see him go after it. I want to see him get past the 900 mark. I want to see him get on the record, stomp on it, have its way with it, and then move on. So that's why I say I'm not totally saddened by this. A little bit of a blessing in disguise. I want him to keep going. And in a sick and twisted pleasure, I would just like to see him and Sidney Crosby talk it out and maybe retire at the same time. And I think that would be super, super cool. Okay? All right. Speaking of cool, I love when teams do cool things. And I love when cool teams do cool things. And I'm talking to you, Boston. I'm talking to you, Boston Bruins, because your general manager, look, you got this team. You haven't won the cup in some time, but the team's always there. President's Trophy, record-breaking, solid, grit, change, no problem. Coaching changed from one to the other, no problem, until there was a problem. And we talk about on the sports show, we talk about killers. We talk about killers all the time. And Sweeney, you're a killer to me. You're a killer to me. And I quote, "We cannot stay in neutral." Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. I'm about to shed a tear. Look, I'm watering up. I'm watering up. I thought I'd cry at Mitch not being here, but that's not the case. I'm watering up because of this. Because there's still killers left. They're still among us. What have you done for me lately? It's a business. If the players want to play the business side, then the organization has to play the business side, and I love it. You're not at expectation. We're not here for the kumbaya speech. We're not at a level where, well, better luck next year, better luck next time. No, we're supposed to be winners. We're not winning, and you are out of here. End of story. And I like seeing stuff like this. When someone says, you're GM, that's what you want in a GM. That's what you want in a player. That's what you want in anything. We're not staying in neutral. Ladies and babies, honey sugar babies. That is something that I like. Okay. So it's going to be a light show. It's going to be a brief show. It's different. I don't have the banter. I've used this analogy before. I'll use it again. I'm playing tennis against the wall. Yeah, it's fun. And yeah, I'm so vain I put up a mirror so I could see myself playing at the same time. Whatever. You would too if you had this canvas. The point being, though, is that it's only fun for so long. So that's why this week we're going to keep it short, we're going to keep it sweet, and we're going to keep it to the point. Normally, in this one, we would go to the power rankings. We'd go to the power rankings, and my compadre over there, Mitch, would be on the other side, and he would name you his top 5, and he would go through, and he's pretty accurate, and it's based on a curve, and all of these great things. But you know what? You got to play to your strengths. I'm not Mitch. There's only so many things that I can do. And in order to keep the power rankings holy and sacred, we have to keep them where they are, and that's with Mitch. So I will not be doing the power rankings. But there is something that I will be doing and introducing to you in the meantime that might just stick. You see, the power rankings are typically brought to you by Sinatra's, home of the flop. Phone for a slice. Tell them you're part of the sports show. So I said to myself, this is perfect. Sinatra's, arguably the best pizza in town. Well, if they're the home of the flop, then I bring to you the sports show, Sinatra's Flop of the Week. That's right. The flop of the week goes to the team in the NHL that I think is the biggest flop. And I hate to say it, and it pains me inside. And Mitch, I can see his Joker smile salivating because he knows exactly who I'm talking about. And it's you, Pittsburgh Penguins. It's you. It's you as an organization for ripping the heart and the soul out of everyone, for taking people that should be retiring into the sunset. A guy like Crosby who almost got you into the playoffs. You were supposed to build on that. You were supposed to build upon this team and let these guys retire with dignity and with class and with a pension, for crying out loud. But what do? You bring in the young guy and he's got to go get his Carlson because that's what he wanted to do in Toronto, but couldn't. And they're losing, everyone. They're losing, and they're losing bad. They're not even at the point where they're competing. They don't even have a team right now that you can confidently say, well, maybe there's a bright spot in there, which is crazy because you have 4 players, mind you, there's some of them in their late 30s, I get that, but are still 4 of among the best in the league. I mean, when you look at this squad and what's plaguing me is Dubas is doing to Pittsburgh what he did to Toronto with older players, and I never saw it coming from the start. And I'm worried, you guys. I'm worried. I am really, really, really worried how this is going to end for the organization. I sat and watched a bit of the game yesterday against the Winnipeg Jets. Now, mind you, Winnipeg's Winnipeg, probably the reigning, defending number one pound for pound team on the week, which I'm not going to do. But the point being is I looked, I said, oh, Dimitri, as a Penguins fan, you better get used to the fact that seeing the L column is going to be there for a long time, kind of like the early 2000s. So, Pittsburgh Penguins, the Sinatras, flop of the week. What is Mitch? There you go, little Mitchisms. Mitcherisms? Mitcherisms. Not a manurism, a Mitcherism. Write that down. Okay. From there, we go to the juggernaut. As he says, we go to the NFL. We go to the National Football League. We're just over halfway. Teams are revealing themselves. The playoff picture for some teams is I don't want to say locked in, but we're pretty confident who's going to be there. Got a lot of disappointments. Got a lot of movement. Got a lot of teams on the cusp. It's a very interesting time right now. But here's what else we got. We got two teams in one city, essentially. And they're not doing so good. Oh, they're not doing so good. Just recently, the other day, it is official that the New York Giants have decided to grant the release, I should say, of Daniel Jones. Mr. Jones and me's gonna be looking for a new job. Look, it's about time. It's about time. And, I gotta credit you. I got to credit the Giants organization because you know what? From the standpoint of you gave someone a chance. Like if I'm in New York, okay? If I'm in New York and I'm a Giants player, you look and say, dude, you know what? Man, we're probably taking this thing for granted. That's on the nice side. A little too late. Shouldn't have signed the contract in the first place. Everyone told you so. Everyone saw it. And that's the danger of this business. Someone has one good year and they, and in the quarterback position, they just got to throw the money. I am curious now. I'm actually very, very curious. Does he get picked up? Who's going to pick him up? In what capacity do they pick him up? My advice for a guy like Daniel Jones, go be a backup. Hey, I'm not joking. I'm actually not joking. Go be the highest paid backup a little bit right now, okay? You're not good enough to play in the NFL. You're just not, at least at an impact. Maybe you need a little bit of time off. Maybe you need to put some reps. Again, Mitch and I will harp down about, being Green Bay Packer and homers and everything that we do. But the bottom line is this, you guys. When you're looking at a franchise that's had 3 quarterbacks in almost 40 years, you're welcome. Okay? You're welcome. Because we do it right. We don't just throw it. Because you're wasting seasons on the other side of the coin as well. So this was long overdue. I'm curious to see what happens in his career. What I'm hoping for, truthfully, because I don't hate the guy. I'm hoping he has a Baker Mayfield type of trajectory. Maybe there's some bright spots in there. Maybe he's got to, be a backup a little bit. Get some reps, get some confidence, reintroduce yourself back into the game. Dare I say that that's something that I think a lot of QBs, organizations should really be thinking about. And we stay with New York. The Giants aren't the only people with QB troubles. Actually, the other team in New York, from across the turnpike, they're having a lot of problems. They got a lot of bright spots. They got a lot of stars, but they don't seem to be shining. And they went with the nostalgia pick. They tried to go with nostalgia. They tried to group people together. They tried everything. They, honest to God, tried everything. They tried to build a team from the ground up, which they were steadily doing. And then, my buddy Mitch, and in the spirit of Sinatra's being our sponsor, he uses pizza analogies a lot. And what the New York Jets did is they made the dough. The dough's beautiful. It's a good recipe. They put the sauce on. They put the toppings, the cheese. They put everything on. Everything was good. But you know what they did at the end when they got Aaron Rodgers and they got Adams? You know what they did at the end? I'll tell you what they did. They rushed the pizza. They put it in the wrong oven. And when the oven wasn't working, they didn't call in a technician to go fix the oven. No. They used the spare oven that they know is not good for pizzas. You see what I mean? The temperature's off. There's not enough room. The convection is off. Everything's off. And they rushed it. And now they got a terrible product. Reports are coming out that by the end of this season, they are going to release Aaron Rodgers. Yes, you should. Absolutely. And I'm not about to go on the train and say, you guys messed up by getting rid of Darnold because he didn't do anything for the team and go look at the guy in Minnesota. I'm not about that, okay? I'm not about that. What I'm saying here, okay, what I'm saying is there's a lot of deficiencies on the team. And if you guys are going to clean house from coach to manager just recently got let go, the GM got let go. If you're going to go and start cleaning house, cleaning everyone, then do it all. Do it all. I'm struggling to see where the salvation is on this team, because if the Bills, which are looking good, but you're still regular season, you ain't shocking me. You ain't doing nothing. If the Bills are going to continue to have a team, and I believe that New England personally is maybe 3-4 years away from not getting back to dynasty. Let's not rush ourselves, but being very competitive. I like what's going on in there from that. And that's probably where the Jets maybe should have been. But I worry. I very, very, very much worry about this team. I promised myself I wouldn't get into Dallas, so I'm not going to. But these two teams are suffering the same disease. And I think the cure is what we talked about before. Maybe you need to go talk to the Boston Bruins management. Maybe you need to go and say, you know what? Why do we have to drop our standard to an all-time low in order to make a fix? If you know the answer, if the writings are on the wall, just nip it at the bud. That's all I got to say. Just needed a sip of that coffee. Listen, from there, I'm going to do it. We go to Rapid Banter. Okay, Portia Williams is getting sued by her ex-husband. Why? Because apparently she says that his junk just doesn't work. I want my money back, or hey, the guy's fallen on some hard times. Oh man. Why you gotta go there? Portia, why you gotta go there? You know? All right. Like I said before, apparently the Trump dance is a controversy and something that looks like it might not be a good thing and maybe outlawed. The roof is on fire. Or do we have our new star in Footloose 3? Like I said, I mean, listen, Donald Trump, Kevin Bacon, 6 degrees of Trump, 6 degrees of bacon. It's writing itself, ladies and gentlemen. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns, they played in the snow this week, and the Steelers decided to blame it on the snow. Let it snow in the spirit of Christmas, or are you a bunch of snowflakes? Yeah, listen, I hate to say it. A win is a win is a win is a win, you guys. You can't turn around and blame the conditions. They had to deal with the same thing. Here's a good one. In Switzerland, there's a church where they have an AI version of Jesus. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned, or chat JCT. Listen, I'm intrigued here. I'm actually intrigued. I'm intrigued by the answers. Because, you know, if there's anything I know about AI is that it's got to go to a database to pull its actual references. So is it actually quoting the Bible? Anyways, who's to say? I thought that was pretty interesting. I know my lane. I got more. I don't want to go more. Look, I'm looking at the time. I got to play to my strengths. I'm not the rapid banter guy. I'm on the other side where I answer. I'm just, look, for me here, it's just 3, 4, in, out, done. Clean. Keep it clean. Simple. What is that? KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. I'm not saying you're stupid. It's a saying. It's a saying. I'm just saying. All right. From there, we go to MAGA MALAKA. This week's MAGA MALAKA, I got to make a confession. And maybe an apology. I had two. I did. I had two MAGA MALAKAs. And then I sat there and I said, I think I might have been hard on the guy. Maybe a little preemptive, premature. Not going to apologize, though. Forget about it. I'm still right. So I came only with one. So MAGA MALAKA this week is, in the spirit of Donald Trump, dance moves that should be outlawed? MAGA or MALAKA? Okay, the first thing, the waltz. MAGA or MALAKA, should that dance move be there? I'm going to go with MALAKA on this one. Yeah, flat out, the waltz, MALAKA, no one's really doing it. No one understands how to do it. And there's really not much of a setting for it to be done. Ooh, here's a good one. The salsa. I'm going to go MAGA here. I mean, anything that's got hip movement, anything that shows a little finesse and sexiness, I'm okay with it. And then if you show up and you know how to do the salsa on the dance floor, I mean, people are looking at you cutting those rugs. And dare I say, the people from that part of the world, not too bad looking either. MAGA to the salsa. Controversial. The forbidden dance. The tango. That's right. MAGA or MALAKA. Look, I got to say MAGA. If you know how to do it, ladies and babies, I mean, come on. I mean, you better wring those clothes dry because, hey, I said enough. MAGA. Breakdancing, MAGA or MALAKA. Look, I want to give this a MAGA because I respect it. But after seeing Ray Gun and after seeing that on display, I got to go MALAKA until I'm proven otherwise. Plus, with breakdancing, there's only so many places that you can do it. Like Friday nights when we leave the UFC over here, there's a little breakdancing crew. I like that. That's MAGA. Perfect setting. Great setting. I like that setting. Anywhere else, though? I don't think so. Don't think you can do it. MALAKA. Last couple, we got the two-step. Look, I'm going to give it a MAGA. It's a good utility dance. Clutch. It needs to be done. You need to know it. It could be used anywhere. Any setting. Country, not country. You got to have it. Last but not least, MAGA or MALAKA. The Greek drunk man's dance, the Zebekiko. Listen, it's MAGA. And it's only for MAGAs. Because there's a swagger, there's a style, and we're the only culture that can do it. Many have tried, many have attempted. Many scholars have tried to crack the code of the almighty Zebekiko, but they can't because it's a feeling, it's an emotion, and it is the five-star Dance of the Week. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. Sports Show, episode 334, coming at your door. Because if you want more, hit the subscribe button on the channels at Sports Show Podcast. Look for the blue and white logo. I told you, hit the pause right now. Get over there. Instagram, subscribe to the YouTube channel at Sports Show Podcast. Podbean, Spotify, CJSW 90.9 FM, 334, one for the books. We got to shove it in the locker because I do got to hit the showers. Thank you, roster. Woo! W, we're saved by the bell by the Sports Show, playing every week. Podbean, Spotify, iTunes, Sports Show TV, at Sports Show Podcast. Amy, do it. At Sports Show Podcast. Amy can do anything. She's the best.